everyone. We want to welcome you today to the We Are Flair podcast. I am your host, Latasha J. Humphrey. In a moment, we're going to jump into this amazing podcast. But before we get started, we want to let our audience know that this podcast is being brought to you by the Flair Foundation, where our vision is bridging the gap, building a legacy. Our mission is that we are a 501c3 community-focused nonprofit mentoring organization, building healthy relationships and partnerships between women and girls through education, community service, networking, unification, and career planning. Our inspiration is Flair Humphrey. She was my paternal grandmother, and although she passed away in 2001 of a massive heart attack, what she taught me and my family was about faith, family, and community. And that is where I draw my inspiration from. Now, audience, I have the pleasure to introduce to you a woman who is on a mission. We met a while back while I was serving in AmeriCorps, and she was serving and working for an AmeriCorps partner organization, Leading Edge Institute. She is a woman who speaks her mind, and that is to be respected. She is a go-getter and a problem solver. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Kristin Farmer. Hi, Kristin. How are you doing?
Hello. I'm doing wonderful. How about yourself?
I am excellent. You know, it is such an honor to have you with us today. And if you would, just go ahead and briefly introduce yourself to our audience.
My name is Kristin Farmer. I'm an art director at UAB School of Medicine. I'm also an illustrator, and I own my own company, Flair Koncepts.
Awesome. And we're going to jump right into that, and we're going to talk about business. And so just like you just mentioned, you know, you own your own business, Flair Koncepts. And I just want to say I love your website, by the way. It's very colorful. I'm a vision kind of a person. I like to see a lot of colors, and just I'm a visionary, so I love it. And in researching it, I see where, you know, you specialize in quite a few areas. And so I wanted to give you, you know, an opportunity to kind of share with the audience, you know, an overview about your business and why you chose to start that particular business.
So my business, Flair Koncepts, is I do graphic design and illustrations. It is mostly catered towards branding of one-woman solo shows that make a significant amount of money. And if you can dream it, I can visualize it. And it is more of branding for the woman that's on the go that's been doing this for 15, 20 years, and she doesn't have a second hand to create that image or to cultivate it. And that's what I'm here to do, to be her marketing, her one-woman marketing show.
Awesome. And just, you know, if you could kind of elaborate on that as it relates to brand development, you know, what I would ask this question first. What is the key to brand development?
Being honest with who you are and what areas you would like to serve in, and deciding who you are not. Actually, the more that you can dwell down on who you are not is the best. Like, you have to know whether you're going to be Walmart, I'm going to offer you low prices, or you're going to focus on customer service like Chick-fil-A. They sell one product and they're very good at it. Or you're going to be Burger King, you have it your way with all of these different products. And so the more that you can hone down on what it is that makes you unique, your unique qualifiers, that is your brand.
Okay. Well, walk me through, like, say, you know, someone reaches out to you. They say, you know, Kristin, like you just said, you know, I'm a woman on the go. This is where I'm at. I'm wanting to brand. What is kind of a process you would take that client through?
First of all, I have a branding questionnaire, about 20 different questions to get you in a thought of mindset, or to know if you even are at the point where you can develop a brand, if you know what you know about yourself and help you identify that for yourself. So if you leave me and we don't end up working together, you end up knowing more about yourself than when we started our initial conversation. So the brand questionnaire is basically for me to get to know you and you to know me and see if we're a great fit. Because the one thing I've always learned, and the thing that I've learned in this business, is that not everybody is your ideal client.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. And you know, as it relates, I wanted to talk about the topic with social media. I mean, that's huge, you know, and I know on there, one of the areas is social media marketing. What are some, at least 3 tips that you could share with other business owners about social media marketing?
Find your own voice, whatever tone you speak in. Some people say cuss words. Some people are Bible thumpers. Some people are Southern. The second thing I would say is be authentic. Be authentic and true to who you are. If you're one that always talks about what's current events, I always talk about current events. If you're that person that is an activist and talk about what's going on in your community, make sure you talk about that. You don't want to go from I'm doing recipes to I'm being political today. You want to wear your hat and stay in your lane. The third thing is to kind of have fun. You have to experiment and see what works best for your audience. Whether that's the different platforms or the different topics, if your audience is more of questions or just one for inspiration, just have fun and, dabble in it to see what works best for you.
Okay. And is there one social media platform better than the other, Kristin? Or is it just kind of all together?
It depends on, who your audience is. Like, I found out that attorney and lawyers actually do well on social media, on Twitter. Doctors do well on Twitter.
Okay.
They're tidbits of advice. If you're a fashion designer or if you're someone that does makeup, you'll probably do well on Instagram because there's a lot of photos. And Facebook is more of a generic place, and I feel like if you just have a lot to say about one thing, whether it's activism or you're doing recipes and cookbook, Facebook might be that place for you to start. And I would say that it's a great place to do a launch pad and move out from there.
Oh, okay. So pretty much like you were saying, it's kind of generic. So start with Facebook and then begin to brand from there. Is that what I hear you saying?
Yes.
Okay, good stuff. Okay. Well, we're going to segue into the topic as relates to college to corporate life. And on your website, I love the fact, too, where you were saying, just be authentic, be yourself. I found it to be very refreshing and transparent when you said this, and I'll quote this from your website, where you said that life didn't turn out as I expected after college. My yellow brick road didn't lead to a job with a corner office and a coffee mug that read, I hate Mondays. Instead, I found greater growth and development as a graphic design intern at Leading Edge Institute, where I discovered my voice and developed a passion for service and leadership. And so I wanted you to, just talk about your college experience and kind of why you believe that it didn't pan out the way that, I guess you would say, like kind of that fairy tale experience of you go to college, you get a job in whatever you went into and whatever you studied or majored in, and then this is these job opportunities that are laid out for you.
Yes. So, a lot of people actually don't end up in the major that they pick once they graduate. And I just want to step back again before that into a college. Well, I chose to go to a predominantly white college.
Okay.
And it was an experience, let me say that. It was a culture shock. It was a great experience, but it was a very harsh reality to know that you could actually live in a bubble and exclude yourself from the rest of the world. That was actually what I would like to call this country club that only so many people were invited to, and learning how to navigate that and be a player in this team. And I think I quickly learned that I did not want to be in a place where of exclusivity. And I needed to be somewhere where everybody was included. And I looked for that when I was looking for a job, and found it to be actually quite hard. In one of my internships, I met Dr. Suzanne Martin, and after I graduated, I wanted to work with her. So I went to her, and I ended up volunteering for her. And it turned into an internship. And it was a wonderful organization just about women and leadership, how we could be the change. if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much space. And it just taught me that I can actually be a change, and I can make a difference in everyday life, in other people's life. And I never knew that. Growing up as a female, you know, you're supposed to grow up, get married, finish college, have kids, and be this backbone of your family and wash dishes. Well, that's not what I had in mind.
Right.
It was okay for me to be this executive or to lead, to run for office, to do anything that I truly wanted to do. Because people always say, you do anything you wanted to do. And it didn't seem like that in college or after trying to find a job. But here I truly learned that I had a voice and that the world was waiting for it, and there would be reckoning when I stepped out onto the field.
Yeah, yeah. And what would you say to, you know, another young woman, you know, whether in high school or college, you know, about how they can truly take charge of their future and begin to forward think, you know, and make their visions come alive?
Well, one thing I want to say is that growing up, I didn't have a community. Like, there was no, like, going to church. There was, you know, there was like beta clubs and stuff, but we didn't do anything, you know. Grew up in pretty much a poor African American community. I came from middle class, but my parents were always hardworking. They were supporters, and they supported me financially. As far as education, they weren't savvy in that. They didn't know when to take the ACT. You know, even my school counselors were just, you know, dealing with other kids who were kind of getting left behind. So what I learned quickly is that I had to have a community. And Leading Edge gave me that community. I started to build mentors and collaborators and meeting great friends that are alike who are still my tribe today. And I just want to say it is so important to have a tribe or a community. And a community is not a zip code. It's so much more than that. It's a collection of people that support you and lift you up, and vice versa. It is a two-way road. It's my everything. It is my own little universe, and with my community, I can never fail. And with that said, I have no idea what question you asked me.
Oh, I was saying I love it. No, to talk to another young woman, and you tapped into it, but talk to her who maybe, you know, in high school or college, and, you know, just really kind of looking to see how to take charge of her future and begin to think forward.
I think it's important to feel that void that you don't have. Like I said, I needed a community. I didn't have support. I didn't have a leader, so I went after that. For some people, it may be other directions, but that was the void that I was missing. You know, some people have coaches, and I didn't have a coach, and so it was important for me to establish that groundwork in my foundation. You have to have a strong foundation, or, you know, your house, you know the Bible quote. I can't quote it, but I'm going to let you quote it.
Look, what you saying? What, for your house to stand? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. But yeah, you have to build a house on a strong foundation, and my community is my foundation. I think it's very good for you to find the void and fill it. As you're learning and navigating it, finding out what you have a lack of and going after that, because that's where your success is.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, and with it, I just, you know, I appreciate you for saying that. We're really big too at the Flair Foundation as it relates to even support systems. And, you know, I agree with you, like you were saying, your community is not a zip code. That's awesome. You know, and the fact that you took charge, because what I hear you saying, you know, a lot of is that you took charge of that when you saw where there was a void, that you then said, okay, this is what I need. Like, if no one is there to help, then I'm going to reach out, you know? Yeah. And not because they didn't want to, like you said, your family, your parents, they may not have been savvy in certain areas, but, you know, for what they gave you what they knew to give, and then you were able to reach out. So that's beautiful. Awesome.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, we're gonna to segue into culture vibes, and what it is basically dealing with pop culture and kind of any topics that may be trending. And so I wanted to kind of touch about the mass shooting, you know, unfortunately that happened in Las Vegas, and just so much is going on in the climate in the world in which we live, and there's a lot of talk about the gun laws, of course, and this seems to take place and be a constant conversation with no resolve to it, because it's kind of one side against the other. And so first, I really wanted to get your thoughts about the situation, of course, itself, and then tell me, what are your thoughts about gun control and so on.
I do feel like there needs to be some level of regulation. I don't know what the laws are and how strict they are, but I do know that it starts at home. Once again, your home is not necessarily brick and mortar or zip code. If you feel some type of way, you need to get out and talk to your community. Whatever your community is, you need to cultivate these discussions around it and teach people early on, what love is and how to foster that. I think that is a big part of it. Like, a lot of people say, well, the church isn't in the community anymore, and I definitely agree with that. I mean, it used to be the pillar of the community, and now so many people just don't go anymore. And so I say the more that we have discussions about violence or race, the better off we'll be. And I think for me, the biggest trigger in news was for the Nationalist March in Charlotte that happened in August. Now, that to me was the biggest cultural shock for me, to see those torches.
Yeah.
It actually caused me to go into a deep barrel of depression, because I've experienced racism before, and as an American person, we always get those microaggressions until you just lose it. And so it took me back to a time and place where I remember being in school, and I remember wearing that hoodie to classes that my classmates thought I was going to blow up the school. And this is a university, this is Stanford University. And I remember being, like I said, kicked out of that country club over and over again because I didn't fit in or I didn't identify, and I spoke my mind. And so that right there caused me to go into a deep depression, which is another part of my life that we can probably talk about later or hit on if you want to at some point. But I also think when these things happen, it's important to practice self-care and to love those around you and to hug them a little bit tighter and to go out and experience freedom. I know one thing I did after Charlotte was Kelly Cosby, you had her on your show, and her thing is hiking. So I went out hiking with her, and we hiked for a long, long time. Lord, I almost did not make it.
Oh.
She never left my side.
Okay.
And it taught me the value of friendship, and that there are tough things that we go through, but, you're never alone.
Yeah. No, that's good. And I would like you to, like you said, just kind of follow up on that now, because I did want to ask you, as it relates to race relations. And so even for you, with what you experienced, just share with us about that.
I think it made me a better person. I realized, that there are many different worlds and there are many different realms of which people live, and that it is important, and I think it's everybody's duty, and everybody should do their due diligence to tap into different communities. You can't say, oh, I don't know any African American people. I don't know that, I don't know any Asian people. It's 2017, almost 18.
Okay, wait.
We have the internet.
Right.
Loans. There is no excuse. You can go to different boards. You can go to different organizations and events. You have the Lebanese food festival. You have all these things. There is no excuse. If you're in a bubble, it's because you choose to be. And I think it is important for us to exercise community and friendship and include other people into our circles, and to get out and to learn new different things about the world. Because if you have a circle of these supporters, there's no way that you can actively discriminate against people whom you love. Like, it's not possible to have so much love and be discriminatory at the same time.
Right.
So the more we get out of our circles and the more intention that we put on towards seeing the whole community and understanding everybody from the people at the bottom to the top, there's going to be a line. And in order to erase that line, you have to cross it. So
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And that was kind of the thing, just in asking what are some ways you believe we could move forward in the right path, and I believe you touched on some of those things. Is there anything you would like to add about race relations?
No, I just think that it starts with you and it starts at home, and that you have to be intentional in the conversations that you have.
Right.
You have to be uncomfortable to change. If you're not uncomfortable, then you're not making any leeway.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, good stuff. And another topic as it relates to culture vibes, I definitely wanted to talk about the mayoral race in Birmingham. And why do you believe the change happened? And do you feel like it was just time for it?
Yes, I think it was a pendulum that swung and landed in a new direction. I think it was the uprise of millennials and Generation X that just wanted to see more community development. They wanted to see more people have opportunities and not focus so much money on one area and not have gentrification, for opportunities to be spread out equally among palettes, or just for everybody to have the opportunity to get stuff if they didn't already have. Just giving people the opportunity.
Right, right.
And I think that's what happened. Like, I saw a lot of, not necessarily young people, but a younger crowd rally out to vote this time that were really excited about doing so. And I think it's excellent. I mean, change is it's always good. If anything, you can learn from it.
Right. Right. And, do you really, like, I know you were just saying, and you touched on that about the millennials, do you believe it was one generation versus another, though?
No, I don't. Like I said, millennials and Generation X, I think, it was, it wasn't the baby boomers that did this. It was, younger people from 20 to 40, 45. It wasn't over the hill. It wasn't, I lost my train of thought, but I do think that it had to do with the younger generation.
Okay. Well, and I know that, there's been, talk, of course, definitely about the generational divide. And so how, as a millennial, if you had the opportunity, you had a group of, just like you said, the baby boomers and just the older generation, what would you want them to know about millennials?
That we are not lazy.
Okay.
The fact that you actually raised us to be who we are.
Right.
And a lot of us aren't sitting on our mom's couches because we're lazy. It's because we don't have, there's a lack of opportunity, economic development, and jobs out there. People are not retiring as early as they used to be because of economic hardship. And people with master's and college degrees are working at Starbucks. So it's not a lack of laziness. If anything, there's drive. I chose to take an internship after college because I refused to be doing something that wasn't my passion. And I did that for a very long time until I got my first job as a graphic designer. Even though it wasn't my ideal job would come later. So I think it's about this drive or the drive to grind until you get what you need to do. If you need to take that job at Starbucks, go ahead, girl. You do your thing. There is nothing about, your employee, wherever your employer doesn't say anything about your integrity or your personality. Do what you got to do. Take that unpaid internship. Go get your job at Walmart and get where you need to be. Right.
And I think more people need to think that way. And I think, even as it relates to entrepreneurs, and I know some people, they love the thought of being an entrepreneur more so than actually being one. But you have so many that they have so much within them, and it's time to birth those things out, and I just think a lot of, even in the millennial generation and, even beyond, like, it definitely, it will take you all stepping out and doing that, but it takes that support, I feel like, from older generations as well, and not to just say, because I've heard that more than once when you talked about the lazy. I've talked with other millennials, and it's kind of like, that's the thought. But I think differently. I don't feel that way. And so I serve as a bridge a lot of times, I believe.
I'm grinding. I work almost 2 jobs. I have my business and I have my day job at UAB. And honestly, I did not choose to be a freelance designer or to actually own a company. It chose me, which is quite interesting. Since 2011, since Leading Edge, Suzanne gave me this clipping about this girl that made business cards, and she made a great business out of it. And I still actually got that magazine, that newspaper clipping. And I did not want to do this. And it got to the point where I felt like I was in a football stadium and everybody was cheering at me. There was no opposing teams, and I was in a locker room. And I was so afraid to step out of the locker room, despite the fact that there was no way that I could fail, because my community was that strong. And it took me some time to actually step out there slowly, but I stepped out on the sideline at first, and everybody was rowing. And then I realized why I was scared. I was scared, going back to the beginning, is I didn't know who I was and what my brand was, exactly what I wanted to do. I didn't know who my ideal client was. I didn't know what I didn't want to do. I just felt like getting stuff thrown at me. It was kind of like drinking out of a faucet. And so what I thought to myself, I need to put this water in the cup and actually drink it, what I can drink. This faucet is going to flow out and gush out, but I don't need all this water to myself. Let somebody else take on this water. Yeah. I need to drink what my cup can fill.
That's good. That's good. Well, I mean, you've definitely, you've taken it, and I feel like even in being a great entrepreneur, it is about adding value, to whatever field you're in, like whatever you're doing, you adding value to someone else. And so, to me, you've gone through the process, even personally, and you're able to really help other people because of it, that experience that you have. So that's a good thing. So kudos to you on that. Awesome. Well, we're going to segue into singleness. That's the topic, and you being a single woman of color. And so I wanted you, to kind of just tell us about your experience as a single woman of color.
I feel like there's so much pressure on women in general, especially if you have a job and a degree that you're supposed to go out there and get married, or just between us girlfriends, we talk about not being able to find this and that there isn't this, and I'm just like, let it come to you. Like there is so much stuff that we are successful at that we focus on the negative. I mean, I woke up this morning. I mean, I got out of my bed. I wasn't depressed. The sun was shining. I got to work and I got through a rough day. And afterwards, I got to go out for drinks with a great friend. There is so many things and opportunities that I have to be so floored about. There's just so much more for me to focus on. And not to say that I don't want those things.
Yeah.
I mean, but like, I have to control what's in front of me right now.
Right.
Like, I just can't go jump off the bridge and make somebody marry me. And you don't want to end up with it. You don't want to be so desperate that you are unequally yoked.
Yes, good.
So it's about letting that come to you for me. And right now, I am not even at the point that I want to be at my business. So if somebody's not going to come to me and help me grow and flourish that, and I can't do that to them, then there's no point of me wasting either of our times. I think that's just selfish to want a title just to have one. And so I am just here trying to strive and be the best person I can be until that person, finds me or we find each other. Because we both need to be in a secure place in our life and know what we want and don't want. And so that's kind of where I am right now. I don't think about the big dream or the big wedding. I think about being the best and most efficient me. Hey, and if you that long, get a dog. I got one barking outside right now.
I love it. I love it. No, but that's beautiful, and that's a beautiful place to be. Even just at your age, though, Kristin, like that's really great because there are even so many women who are even older and not thinking that way, and so that's good. And are there any pearls of wisdom you want to share with any woman who may be anxious about getting married?
I don't know. I can't speak to that, but I just know I'm extremely happy. I know that I have a house that I never thought that I would be able to live in or afford. I thought I'd be staying with my parents until I was 30 and then have to move out into an efficiency. But, hey, I just got into a brand new house this year, and there's no to me.
That's beautiful.
And I'm grateful for the things that I have. And I just, I can't speak to any other woman's experience, or I don't even have the advice to tell them, but just to live you and live you each day and live every opportunity of it. Because when you do get married, you don't have to consider somebody else. You're not going to always be able to go out to drink with the girls, do some of those fun things that you did when you were single. So just enjoy the ride.
Yeah, that's good. Well, congratulations, too, on your new home. That's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Awesome. Okay. Well, we're going to segue into the topic as it relates to family. And so, my grandmother, like I said in the intro, she taught us a lot about faith, family, and community, and she's definitely my inspiration. And so I wanted to ask you, why is family so important to you? And, what are some things that make your immediate family unique?
I think because we are all crazy. We're a bunch of crazies walking around. Mom is certifiable, and I love it. I love them to death. We make inappropriate jokes. I love them. I have a very large family. There's 5 of us. I have 3 sisters and 1 brother, and I'm the second youngest. And I think I have 3. Do I have 3? No, excuse me. I have 4 nephews and 5 nieces, and it's just an incredible journey to watch everybody grow and have setbacks and thrive. There's nothing that I would trade for it, and I don't really know what much to say about it because, some people don't have siblings or their mom and dad aren't with them, and I just want to say that family isn't always about DNA. It's a second tribe. It's an immediate tribe. It's about the people that you love and spend the most time with. It's about the people that will give up their lads. It's about the person that's going to let their bill go unpaid so you can have something. And those are the people that are your family. Like I said, it's about tribes. And my tribes are many. And there are some that are closer to me than others. And my family is my center of my universe. And I love them and have so much respect for them. And the only thing that taught me is just to be myself, to be me, uniquely me. There's no other me, and there's nobody else I can be, and they remind me of that every day.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I so agree with you about family. Where it doesn't have to be your DNA. So yeah, that's awesome. Beautiful. Okay. Well, we're going to segue into the topic as it relates to mother-daughter bonds. And so it's a series of questions that I'll ask you, and it may encourage more conversations, with among mothers and daughters. And so I also believe that it's a good way to let our audience get to know more about our guests. And so are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay. Well, what has your mother taught you about yourself?
Taught me about myself that I was a beautiful, extraordinary person that could conquer the world.
Okay. And how did your relationship with your mother prepare you to become the woman that you are today?
Continue. She called me every day, getting on my nerves. So she can go to Vocal Return and not get on my nerves. Her and my dad got to go somewhere, and I got to pay for it, so they cannot get on my nerves.
A hot mess, a mess. What are some small things you believe mothers and daughters could practice daily to strengthen their bond?
I think they have to do with communication and checking on each other. I just love the simple fact of a phone call that, my mama called me to tell me my favorite movie was on and to tell me what channel it was on. It's about getting something small in the mail. Or I remember when I moved, I opened the box and my mom had this pillowcase in there that she had made for me. And it was just one pillowcase. I don't know what happened to the other one. Since she made it, and that was a year ago, so we just don't, let it slide. And it was a Wizard of Oz pillowcase. I love Wizard of Oz. That's my thing. And so it's about those little things, those little trinkets that we share in our bond. That she was thoughtful enough to make me this thing for when I moved. even if she only made half of it, I'm still very appreciative about my half gift mother.
Look, what'd you say? I'll give her a shout out. A mess.
I need my location. Maybe I will remind her of that when I get off the phone.
Right. I love it. What book most influenced you?
What has most influenced me?
What book?
What book? I think Ruby Slippers has most influenced me. Once again, it's another Wizard of Oz thing, I know. But it was about her journey and her lifetime. Like, she thought she was going in one direction, but like this tornado came and it took her away, and she ended up somewhere else, like even more fantastic with the relationship with God and other things that came with it. And it's really a great read. It's short and it's spiritual. And maybe it had because it's about Wizard of Oz, I don't know, but it's a great adult twist and face twist on life and this road that we travel and what's on the other end and the people that we travel along with and what we can learn and accomplish while on the way. It's about change and growth, and I really love it.
Perfect. What keeps you grounded?
Keeps me grounded. I think it's important to always be humble. And what keeps me grounded is some days I get in my car. Every time I get in my car and I go pump gas, I was like, thank the Lord. So I remember in college when there were times where I couldn't pump my gas because I didn't have enough money. But God always provided. There is this thing where one day I opened my closet, and the fact that I had a closet that I can hang my clothes in, because my parents' clothes is always in my closet at home. The fact that I had my own closet and that I was in a house that I thought I would never be in tickled me so. And it's just like the little things. Every time I get to do something like pump my gas or open my closet or go open the refrigerator or walk around the house naked, I'm like, I have this. It's my own.
Right.
And I strive to have these things in my life. It is so much the little things that are so important to me.
Oh, that's good. Good. Well, what are 3 qualities that got you where you are today?
I think number one, being creative, being honest and my true authentic self, and I think the other one would have to be listening. You have to listen to others in order to gain knowledge and figure out your direction.
Okay. What question do you wish more people would ask you?
More people would ask me. Honestly, that has stumped me. I don't know. What do you think about this question? Because I have an opinion on everything.
We'll just say, give me a topic. Give me a topic. Also, that's the question? What?
Honestly, as a designer, like, people do stuff, and I just wish they had to pass it by me so I can tell them not to do it.
Oh, okay. Wait. All right. Well, that's good.
I could have stopped this to that
right.
Point, got rolling, and now you want me to fix it.
Right. Well, just say you should have asked me first. Oh, I love it. I love it. What is the last thing you binge watched?
The last thing I binge watched, I think would have to be African City, and I think Charmed. Yeah, I binge watched African City and Charmed. I love, once again, going back to Wizard of Oz, I love stuff about lighthearted witchery. Now, I'm not into witchcraft. I did not say
Right. You say disclaimer.
But, I love stuff like that. And so I watched all 8 seasons, and then I watched this African City because it's about friendship, and it's about Black women and being strong, and I could identify with it. They're in their late 30s, late 20s, and they're just trying to grow and strive and get their grind on, and I just love it.
And what's the name of it again?
In African City. In
African City. Okay. What is it on, what channel?
First season is on YouTube, and the second season you have to buy off their website or rent off their website.
Got you. Okay. I might have to check that one out. Okay. Well, what is something every woman should try once in her lifetime?
Ooh. Doing stuff alone, traveling alone, finding yourself, going out to eat on your own without having a date, going to get a drink by yourself, going for that long walk in the woods on your own. Learning to do stuff on your own so you can find who you are. And it's just amazing the little stuff that whisper in your ear when you're alone. That little tiny voice, that wholeness that you feel when you've accomplished a task on your own without any help, something that you've been afraid to do. But not even afraid to do, just enjoy something by yourself so you can have authentic memories of who you are. And in the end, you don't have to depend on anyone to do things. Just to show you how strong you are. Enjoy stuff by yourself. I think that going back to being single, too, is right now just the time to enjoy things by myself before somebody else comes along. To, take myself out, to go to movies by myself, to enjoy that long walk, or to hop in my car and keep driving until like I run out of gas. Not really run out of gas.
Right.
Yeah, we don't want you to run out of gas.
Right, don't run out of gas now, but no. No, but I feel you on that.
But it's about enjoying your me time, because one day you're not going to have a whole lot of me time. No matter whether you get married or not, there's just going to be so many people around you. Your job is going to be inundating you, family, whoever in your circle, and you're just not going to have me time anymore. So I think it's best to get that alone time and love yourself before you are trying to get this other person to love you. If you don't love yourself, like you Paul said, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else? Can I get an amen?
Look, I should say love yourself first. Oh, man. I love it. What did you do for fun as a teenager?
As a teenager, I played a lot. We played a lot, even up to 13. I think we played Barbie until I was 13. Don't tell anybody that.
Right.
My youngest sister, but we hung out together. We did a lot of stuff. Because I was a nomad. I was alone in high school. I didn't begin to have like a lot of friends and actual tribes until I was older. Like I didn't understand the importance of that until then. But I think when I think of being younger, I think about my siblings and them taking me places and me watching their kids. Those are my fondest memories of being with my siblings.
Okay. Well, who have been your role models and what do you admire about them?
I have to say Justina Howard, the way she carries herself, she's about her business, she's charismatic. Suzanne Martin, she's this amazing person, full of sunshine, full of growth. Neither one of them are ever, they're always the ones that tell me what not to do.
Oh, okay.
They are very good at checking me and giving me advice and doing it so in a loving manner. And those are my peeps.
Okay, good stuff. What superpower would you like to have?
I think I would be invisible because I like to walk around naked a lot, and so it's kind of illegal for me not to have some clothes.
Okay.
So I could be comfortable. I could walk around naked a lot more. And that's my pastime, is swinging in my backyard naked. I'm glad nobody knows my address, but I call it women to pooling because I only have on a t-shirt, use a red t-shirt, and I'm on a swing in my Winnie the Pooh shirt, and that's my favorite pastime.
Okay.
My favorite pastime. It's amazing. Watch the stars. I'm going to light a fire when it gets cold, but Winnie the Pooh is my thing, and people can see me. So if people can see me, that would be great.
Okay, perfect. Well, what would you say to a woman with a broken heart?
With a broken heart. That's a tough one. I think we all have broken hearts at times, and I think it's important to go through the stages of grief, to feel it, to not deny it, to own that you feel this way, to allow yourself to feel it, and to be okay with it, and to push it back out. To give yourself a set amount of time that I'm going to feel this way, I'm going to acknowledge it, and then to push it back out and then enjoy things more and to learn from that experience.
Yeah.
I think it's important to acknowledge our grief and to actually dwell in it for a little while, and not pretend like it never happened, because it did. It's great to acknowledge it.
Yeah, that's good. What's the most important lesson you've learned in the last year?
The last year. The last year, I think I've grown the most in jumping off the cliff. I am really a reserved person, and I take calculated risks. But this year, I just jumped off the cliff and went with it. And I was like, if I fail, I fail.
Right.
I think, it's like, what if I fall, but what if you fly? You might learn to fly on your way down sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's
I
good.
think it's important sometimes to just take the leap, and whatever it is, take the leap. What's the worst that's going to happen?
Yeah, that's good. And if you could talk to one person from history, who would it be and why?
History. An entire history of the universe. Actually, that's a good one. I know I like to have Gail over, so she would tell me all about Oprah.
Oh, okay.
No, Oprah secret.
Oh, okay. What in your life has brought or given you the greatest satisfaction or fulfillment?
Honestly, a dog.
Really?
Yes, because he loves me, and I love him back. He imprinted on me. So my nephew was off at school, and he was playing sports, and he thought that it was a great idea to get a dog. But he learned very quickly that he could not have a pit bull in his dorm room. So,
You think? Wait a minute. What do you think?
and so he brought him back home. My sister wanted him to sell it. My mom was going to take it in. Of course, after 24 hours, it was my dog. And this dog has taught me more about being myself and taking time for myself. And he's actually kind of, in a way, showing me like what love is supposed to be. And that it doesn't hurt. And that I remember one day I was super depressed, and he just came and laid his head in my lap. And one day he gave me a hug, and that's something that I suffer with, is depression. And, well, not depression, I'm bipolar. And so I have my many up and downs, and he's my sidekick for when I am in a down spiral. And so he actually works for his home and his bread.
Okay, good. Well, looking back over your life, what would you have done differently?
I don't think I would have done a thing differently. Because if I did, I wouldn't be who I am now, and I am actually in a peak place, and I don't regret anything. I think you learn from your mistakes. Mm-hmm. Every mistake should teach you something, and I don't even call them mistakes. I call them happy coincidence.
Oh, I like that.
And so, you just keep learning and growing, because if you were perfect, then what would you learn? How would you grow? You'd just be stuck in this one stage of life. And that's not how I'm trying to live.
Okay. Good stuff. Well, what would you do again?
What I would do again is at 19, I would go get help. I realized there was something not right with me, and that I always had a problem concentrating, and that, I felt bad sometimes, and I went and got help. I went and got help for what was diagnosed as depression and anxiety at that time, but now I've learned this last year that I'm actually bipolar, and I have a borderline personality disorder. So I think being in check with your health, your mental health, we don't talk about that a lot in the African American community, and we suffer so much for it. But to go get help, even if you don't have insurance, there are a lot. There's Oasis, there's Gateway, there's Crisis Center. We all need to stay in check or ahead of our mental health, whether that is practicing self-care, or if you have an issue actually getting medication or meditation. Being ahead of it, because you can't be 110% if you're not taking care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself. And that is important. And that's something that I'm so thankful for, that I recognized that there was something wrong with me and I went and got help.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to segue into the topic as it relates to community service. And so I wanted you to share with us any ways that you're giving back to the community.
At this moment, I honestly have taken a break and I stepped back to look at the 30-foot view from the ceiling, and I've realized that I can't give at the capacity that I wanted to give, that I can only do so much as far as a volunteer. And so I realized in order to make change, a really great change, that I would have to be a philanthropist. And so right now I'm growing my company and I'm giving back what little coins I can here and there, to the point where I can write that large check and that I can hugely make a significant difference, other than being hands-on all the time, because I just don't have the time or resources right now. But hopefully soon in the future I will have a significant amount of dough to drop somewhere. And the little that I do have, I do spread out and try to get back often as I can.
Well, awesome. Well, I know you will have a significant amount, so I'm in agreement with you that that everything just begins to flow your way. It's definitely because you have a desire and a heart to want to do it. So, absolutely, it will come. Just wait for it. Awesome. Well, we're gonna move into the topic as it relates to faith, and so I wanted you to share a time when your faith has been tested and how you came through it. And this basically is an opportunity to encourage our audience.
I think in college really inspired me to be a part of the church community. Like it was really hard. There was times where I didn't know I was going to make it. I didn't think I was going to get that project in. Where I didn't know how I was going to put gas in my car. But every time I said, "Lord, I don't know how I'm going to do it," my phone would ring. And it would be like either a gig or it just would be helping some sort of, in whatever way I needed. It would be supernatural. And even today, if I don't have something, I just say, "God, I don't know how to do it." And it'll be in my most sincerest voice or question, and it is delivered right then. It's like having a genie. Not to say that you can just summon God like that, but
Right.
in my weak moments, he was there. He's never left me. He's never not been by my side, even when I wasn't paying attention. He's been here all along, and it's just a marvelous thing to see him work and know that he's a true being. Just to see that work. But I've enjoyed this experience, and I know that I wouldn't be here without him.
Perfect. We're going to move into our closing segment, and it's called Matters of the Heart Moment. And so the first question is, if you had the opportunity to speak to your 4-year-old self, what would you say to her?
I would say, smile. Nothing that you go through will linger forever. This too shall pass.
Okay. And who inspires you?
Who inspires me? I think JKL, is it Rowling, the lady that wrote Harry Potter?
Uh-huh.
So she came from nothing. Like, she literally was, like, on her last. And she wrote this magnificent book.
Yeah.
And she has made billions of dollars. And even through that, she has given so much of it away. So much. And I think that's the type of person that I want to be when I grow up.
I love it. Well, what is the best pearls of wisdom you have ever received?
I heard this quote once that says, life begins when your greatest joy meets the world's greatest hunger. Kate Bornstein. And I think I live with that every day. That is the best quote that I've ever heard.
Now say that again.
Life begins when your great hunger meets the world. Excuse me, I messed that up. Life begins when your great joy meets the world's great hunger. Kate Bornstein.
Wow. Okay, good stuff. Well, are there any last minute comments you would like to make?
There is one more thing that I hang on my refrigerator that I look at every day. It says, finish each day and be done with it. You have done what you could. Some blenders and absurdities have crept in. Forget them as soon as you can. Tomorrow is a new day. You shall begin it serenely. And look too high a spirit to be encumbered with old nonsense. Emerson. So it reminds me just to let go of everything that's past and move forward, because there's a new dawn. And I have to remember that just with anxiety and depression too, that, some days I'm going to have great days, some days I'm not, but move on. Like, be in this day and move on. Like, this is not going to last forever.
Yeah. No, that's good. Well, Kristin, we want to thank you so much for being with us today and really being transparent and sharing with us.
Well, thank you for having me. It was an honor.
Absolutely. And I speak blessings over you and just your soul, your spirit and your body. And I just speak life to you. So,
amen.
Awesome. Perfect. And our goal at the Flora Pearl Foundation is to always be a blessing to all of those we come in contact with by operating with the spirit of excellence. I want to thank you all so much for listening today. And you can visit our website at www.florapearlfoundation.org. We look forward to spending time with you all each week, and we will talk to you soon.